You're tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly pop and geek culture show covering movies, TV, games, and comics. Now your hosts, Cody Pinnick, Sam Dunham, and Josh Harrison.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that stays at a respectable 60 frames per second at all times, except when there's more than 6 characters on the screen. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
I'm Josh.
Hey, thank you all for tuning in this week. We have a bunch of things to talk about. We're going to talk about the James Gunn DC movie shakeup. We're going to talk about some trailers, all sorts of stuff. But first, let's get into some things we've been checking out.
Check it out!
It's a me, a Mario. That's not the voice. You'll have to wait to hear the voice.
It's the voice.
It was the voice.
It was the voice,
as it turns out.
Especially from that Toad clip where he's doing that Jersey accent.
Yeah. It's a me.
It's a me.
Mario.
Hello, it is I, Mario.
It is I. It is I.
Let's go place. Let's do this.
You know, that voice just sounded like there was like this web fan series that was made a long time ago on the internet. It was called Modern Mushroom Warfare or something, and there was like a whole like serious Nintendo.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and like that's kind of how Mario sounded like. He's like this gruff hero.
I played like 20 minutes of Wario World before I came over here today because I was messing with my GameCube in my office. And the Wario voice work in that game is so good. Charles Martinet is such a blessing.
He really is. And I feel bad that
he's getting sidelined. For a stunt casting.
You know what his it's going to end up being. He's supposed to be in the Mario movie. And I had originally said, oh, he's going to be like Mario's dad or something like that. He's going to be in like a post-credit scene or in one scene or something like that. No, what's going to happen? My new prediction, post-credit scene after the adventure, the Toads have created a video game based off of the adventure, and Mario's going to pop up in their video game version, and Martinet is going to do the voice, and Pratt's going to be like, "Oh, that doesn't sound like me at all."
Yeah, that's probably. My thought was that like the Toads are going to make a talking doll of Mario.
That could
afterwards,
be too.
But the video game, that's better.
Yeah, and it's going to look like classic Mario.
Yeah, like
1.
Mario 64 or something
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some things we've been doing. So have I ever told you about Vampire Survivors? It's a game that just came to the phones.
I think we've talked about it before.
I think we have, and at the time I was like, I'll have to check that out, and so I checked it out, and I've put a lot of time into it.
It'll do that.
It's a lot of time.
Man, you reached the top of the Shovel Knight dig charts, and now you had to get into something else.
You know, I have to be number one at something else.
You've tasted the glory,
victory.
The glory of
I've kissed
victory.
the brass ring, and now it's time to continue.
You're gonna be on Games Done Quick next year.
That's it.
For something.
Good games done quick or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't played Vampire Survivor since I unlocked the Dairy Factory
or
something.
The Dairy Factory sucks. That's a terrible level. It's really, really bad. But I've been going through, I've been playing it, I've been unlocking it. So what it is, basically, you are a single tiny pixel character running around a huge map with wave after wave after wave of expendable enemies coming directly in your direction.
They're barely enemies. Like
they're just moving targets, basically.
Yeah.
And you are just running around collecting pickups for different power-ups, different weapons, what have you.
And you like don't actively shoot the bad guys.
No, you're just
guy
walking
is
around,
constantly attacking,
Yeah.
and you're just moving him to line up the attack.
It is the ultimate idle, brain off, do nothing game.
Is it kind of like a bullet hell?
It is a reverse bullet hell because you are the bullet hell.
Yeah.
You are the single target shooting out a million
dots.
different dots at and waves and things like that.
And you want to get close to the bullets. Like,
yeah.
If the bad guys were the bullets, like you want to be close to them.
You want to be close to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is, again, brain off. There was nothing there. I mean, there's almost no animation. There's almost no sprite work, really. It's
like I'm not sure if this is true, but it definitely seems like the person that made it paid somebody to make a bunch of Castlevania-esque sprites.
not
and
just
then that was it.
Castlevania. There's a character that is just green-haired Bayonetta. And their power-up that they start with are guns on their hands and feet. It is just green-haired Bayonetta from Bayonetta 1.
Nice. Well, like the first female character you unlock is named Imelda. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the naming conventions of it are ridiculous. I believe it was originally designed by one guy, and I believe he's Italian, so that's why everything is slightly Italian themed.
Oh,
It's
that explains some of the translations. Yeah.
like the candelabra is a candelabra door.
Yeah.
It is the Italian equivalent of taking a Japanese game and doing a bad English port. The all your base are belong to us. It's like that, but for Italian to English. The game is competent, and I tell you what, it runs better on a phone screen than it does on a PC because on a PC it basically burns your.
I never had a problem with
Really? See, my computer's a little bit older, and it kind of it starts chugging a little bit there near minute 29, minute 30.
And I played it a lot on the Xbox Series X, and it's good there too.
Oh, cool.
I never had any slowdown.
Okay, well, cool. But it's you're literally
But
just
yeah, it's not on the Switch for
it's not on the Switch.
that reason.
There's a very good reason it's not on the Switch. Yeah.
Poor Switch.
Right.
Like, I love the Switch, but little guy.
its time is over. It needs to be put to bed.
Which
they
is
need to innovate and move on to the Switch 2.
Yep.
New Switch.
Electric Boogaloo.
Crystal Switch.
Oh my God! What if they went back to doing that, like doing
Super
like
Switch.
the clear plastic, like official, like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
like they did for like the Game Boy and the 64 and all that
The
stuff.
transparent purple Game Boy Color.
Transparent purple. Yes.
That was the only Game Boy color you could get when it came out, was that purple one.
Not true. You could also get Pokemon Yellow themed
Oh,
because
that's true.
I had the Pokemon Yellow themed.
Well, there was also like that, like I saw a couple of the solid ones that were like a real loud color.
Yeah, those were later though.
Were they?
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember those commercials though.
Initially, it was transparent purple because me and my brother both had the same color because that's the one.
What do they call it? Electric purple or something like
think
that? It was
so.
something.
You know,
it was something extreme. For
I
the
wish
late
the
90s, early 2000s.
I wish the sherbet orange GameCube wasn't Japan only.
Yeah.
yeah.
The Nintendo 64 I have is transparent green.
Nice.
Oh, I remember that one. And then there was like that really like deep blue Pokemon one that had like the Pikachu on it.
With
foot
the Pikachu on it.
power
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's worth a pretty penny, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same with the Donkey Kong Nintendo 64
The
controller.
yellow.
The yellow, and it has little brown spots on the top and bottom because it looks like
That was not a
weird-
controller. That was that was a neoprene skin that you put over the controller.
It was a limited edition controller that was an award.
Gerard
for-
has it, right?
Because Gerard the Completionist
Yeah.
has one.
Does he? 'Cause
Uh-huh.
I've seen the cover. You got it from like the Nintendo Power magazine or something.
Something like that.
And now
yeah.
they're selling for like just the cover is selling for like $200.
I actually read a comic, which is usually
Like a comic
it's not my area of expertise.
What's this? I'm
but
playing video games and you're reading
Yeah.
comics? What is this world coming to?
I read the complete collection of Evan Dorkin's Eltingville Club.
Oh, Eltingville's good stuff.
It was very good. It's about a club of like mid 90s nerds that meet up and argue and fight about nerd stuff.
the embarrassing kind of nerd.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So us?
No, the ones
No,
that we
the-
try not to be.
Yeah.
We desperately try not to be these guys. Because they are the epitome of everything wrong with fandom, is basically the gist of it.
Oh, so you read a comic about Star Wars fans?
I mean, yeah, one of them would be. Yeah.
One of them would be.
Yeah. Each character has a nerd specialty. Like the main character, Bill, he's the comic guy. Josh, there's a guy named Josh. He's the sci-fi guy.
There's
And
always
the-
one of us.
Yeah, and there's a horror guy and a role-playing game guy.
Mm-hmm. They tried to do an animated series of it. There's a pilot.
Yeah, it's a very good
The pilot's
pilot.
really good, but it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I don't think people were ready for
That kind of
that
humor.
level of really specific. You know what? In 10 years from that time, Big Bang Theory had hit, and it was a lot of the same jokes when they weren't doing science
Yeah.
specific jokes.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
a lot of similar.
Like when they all dressed as the Flash and they said,
Yeah.
"Hey, look, everyone line up behind me so we can look like the Flash running."
that is kind of like.
Like if they
Kinda,
were
sorta.
all very angry.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah, they're all incredibly angry because that's 90s
90s
dummies.
nerds.
Yeah.
Is before it was socially acceptable to be into this kind of stuff. There's a lot of resentment for
Yeah.
being like, I like this thing and no one understands me. Arr.
Yeah, and there's no female character in the group because there wouldn't be.
There
It
wouldn't be
make
at
sense.
that time in the
Yeah.
90s. Yeah.
Girls don't like that stuff, but also we want girls to be in our spaces.
But when they come into their spaces, we're incredibly weird at them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
And
yep,
gatekeep.
Yep.
And this is all stuff that they cover in the series. Like,
Oh yeah. The series is really good.
yeah, and it's a full, complete story. There's an epilogue for all the characters and what happens to them when they grow
It
up.
took him years to come up with that epilogue, though. It was like put out years later, I believe.
Yeah, well, it goes all the way from like 94 to like the mid 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the epilogue is dark. Things don't go good for these guys because they're so messed up.
Yeah. Well, they're all, misanthropic kind of.
Yeah.
They're
One of them ends up okay.
Yeah, one of them ends up okay, but the rest of them, you're not supposed to like them.
No, they're not good. They're not good people.
You're not supposed to like them.
They almost have an Always Sunny thing about them too.
Kinda,
Like,
yeah.
Like you don't want to see them succeed either because they're so
actively
Awful.
rooting against
actively
them.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite storyline was they do a Twilight Zone marathon where they
Uh-huh.
all try to stay up through all like 30 hours of the Sci-Fi Channel Twilight Zone marathon. And they of course have a hard time, and then they dip into no-dos and freak out. And then they dip into one of the guy's mom's pills and like gets really weird.
Uh,
Yeah, it's yeah.
It was great
Good
though.
series. Yeah.
It was something that I'd been meaning to read, like, ever since I saw the pilot on Adult Swim way back in the day. I'm like, and I looked up and saw it was from a comic. I'm like, I bet I'd really like that. And then I didn't get around to reading it until now.
I know you said like watching like the pilot on TV and stuff and like Adult Swim. All for some reason in my brain it just popped up. Man, I miss Mission Hill. I want to watch
It's
Mission
very
Hill.
similar. It's
Yeah.
similar tone to Mission Hill.
It's the same, like, indie comics Gen X, like,
Yeah. Mission Hill is more slacker.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
guys are a little more kind of on edge and negative.
and Evan Dorkin's art is so good.
Oh,
it's
it's
so
really good.
detailed
Mhm.
and, like,
Also, the fact that his name is Dorkins.
Evan Dorkin, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did a comic series that was just called Dork.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that one. I remember
He did
Dork.
He
He did
did
Milk and Cheese.
Milk and Cheese was another one, big one that he did. It was like a gag, a strip kind of thing.
I really wish I would have had more access to like these 90s like
Oh,
indie
sure.
comics back
Yeah.
in the day.
It really seems like your
Yeah.
jam. Yeah.
If it would have been more accessible to me then, I probably would have drawn more comics.
You know what? I'm gonna let you borrow. Have you ever read Scud the Disposable Assassin?
No.
I'm gonna let you borrow the omnibus that I have. It is like right there, 90s Gen X indie comic. It's about this modern future-ish kind of thing where you basically put a coin in it's very Jonah Vasquez-esque.
Oh, cool.
You put a coin in a vending machine and order a robot to go and
do a murder.
do a murder. Well, at one point he gets zapped or shocked or something like that, and he kind of realizes that once he finishes the contract, he is to self-destruct. So he puts his target on life support and constantly has to take jobs to pay to keep his original target on life support so he doesn't explode.
die.
And there's a whole bunch. There is a Godfather / Shogun Warriors giant robot section, and there's a whole thing with it. Again, it goes very like early Jonan Vasquez,
Yeah.
Invader Zim
That
style
was
stuff.
Johnny the
Yeah.
Homicidal Maniac the trade paperback was the only indie comic I had as a
Yeah.
kid, and I just read it over and over again.
I mean, same. I can't tell you how many times I've had to rebuy that book because the binding just fell apart.
Well,
Yeah.
the binding on that print run was very bad to begin
Devil's
with.
not Devil's Due Publishing.
It was Devil's Due.
The SLG, Slave Labor Graphics.
Slave Labor
Slave
Graphics.
Graphics. Yeah,
Slave Labor
that's it,
Graphics.
that's it.
All their books are bound like are crud.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why they're just barely glued in there.
Oh,
They're
they
trash.
get dusty and fall apart.
Yeah,
the
they're
spine
trash.
literally turns to dust.
It's probably what they could afford. They're not
Well,
a big
they're
publisher.
not huge. That's very true.
Like I
That's a good
remember when
point.
I was in high school and I was doing my senior project, and I chose because I was in a graphic field. I wanted to interview a comic artist for my senior project, and I sent a letter to Slave Labor Graphics and asked if I could get an interview with Jonah Vasquez. Obviously, I got a no
Sure.
because Jonah
yeah.
didn't do anything.
You were either going to get a no or get something really weird back.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I don't think it even reached his desk. I think,
I kind of wish you would have got a weird
Something-
letter or
something
something.
weird.
I know. I would have framed that. Because
Oh, yeah.
I own Jonah Vasquez's like collected works.
Sure.
Like I own all the Johnny stuff, that I Feel Sick, Squee, Everything Can Be Beaten, the Bad Art Collection, all those stupid books.
All the graphic novels you can find in a Hot Topic in the
Yeah.
late 2000s. In the early 2000s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He streams now on Twitch. He's pretty.
He does.
He's
Oh,
funny.
does he?
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
He's always been funny. He's funny.
Well, yeah,
streaming.
it's kind of funny. Like going back and thinking of like the humor I really consumed when I was younger was pretty much Jonah Vasquez, Homestar Runner, and Foamy the Squirrel.
Oh, sure.
That was like all I ever did growing up, or well, when I was younger.
You know what? Replace Jonah Vasquez for Ben Edlund in
Oh, yeah.
The Tick. Original classic The Tick.
Spoon.
It was pre-Spoon, pre-Arthur, pre-all that stuff, where he was, the original couple of Tick comics. I mean, still really goofy, but they definitely had that indie comic black and white edge to them.
Yeah.
Almost like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
Where they were really kind of serious and whatever.
Gritty and
Gritty and
they're
stuff like
actually
that.
like ninja assassins.
Mhm.
Oh.
You know, my entire humor was formed by probably Homestar Runner, Mystery Science Theater, and like the LucasArts point and click adventures,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can
including
see it.
including Sam and Max and all of their assorted
Adventures.
comics. There's another indie comic from the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah, right.
Sam and Max.
Yeah.
So to get back on the track of like check it outs, we watched Netflix's Wendell and Wild.
Oh, I watched that too. I liked it.
I liked it a lot too. Definitely had a like not quite as clean as Leica, but it was still like a decent like stop motion.
Yeah,
Film.
The stop motion was gorgeous. I was surprised at how big, like at the end of the movie, they show during the credits, they show like
How
behind
big
the
the
scenes
figures.
stuff. I was surprised by how big the figures and like
Well, it's like-
Belzer's big hand.
Yeah, well, it's like that for all the Leica films and stuff. They always showed like the, I think even Nightmare Before Christmas did it during their credits, where like they showed the puppeteers doing the stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same director as Nightmare Before Christmas, Henry Selick.
Yeah. The guy who actually directed the film and not Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Like everyone
Sure.
attributes it to.
Oh, sure.
He just produced it.
Yeah, it's Henry Selick and Key and Peele,
Yep.
produced by
Oh, nice.
Jordan Peele's production company.
Oh, that's quality
But the
then.
two Wendell and Wild, they're
Are voiced
Key
by
and Peele.
Key and Peele.
Nice.
Yeah, they're Key and Peele demons. But no,
Oh, go ahead.
but it was very good. Oh, really dark and serious for a pseudo kids movie.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's edgier than you would think.
The whole opening is weird because it's like this afterworld fair that really does nothing for the movie. It's just a sequence. It's just an odd sequence.
Well, that's where they're trapped. Where
Well, yeah.
Wendell and Wild are trapped working in this like hell carnival by their
dad.
And they want to make their own.
Yeah, they want to design their own
they
carnival.
want their own carnival.
But he doesn't want to make any changes to the carnival.
Gotcha.
And then,
Oh my god, I can't remember.
I know,
the main character's name. That's not Wendell or Wild. The girl.
Kat.
Yeah.
Her name is Kat. She is, eventually is revealed that she is what they call a hell maiden. and she can somehow summon demons that are bonded to her, which happen to be Wendell and Wild.
Nice.
And they see their opportunity to go to the world. James Hong is a voice in it.
Quality.
Yep, he's the headmaster of a failing Catholic school. And then there's like this evil corporation that's coming into the town that like there are so many story threads in this.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah.
It's kind of new, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been out.
It came out around Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so it's
came
been
out
a little
about
while.
Halloween. Yeah.
But still, don't
Yeah.
get too spoiled.
Well, I'm trying. I'm not. But there's just a lot of things going on. Like there's this town, and there was a brewery, and then the brewery burned down, and it basically killed the town. Kind of a Tommy Boy-esque kind of thing.
Okay, sure.
Oh, the soundtrack rules.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is.
It's all like punk and a little bit of ska and like
Nice.
very good. There's a special song in it, so
You're hitting all the right points for me to watch this.
It's a very good. It's a very good film.
yeah. I wish it was a little funnier.
Yeah.
It's not like a constant laugh out loud funny thing, but it's still an enjoyable movie.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Right
no,
on.
I definitely if you like that like that style of film, like like your Fantastic Mr. Fox or anything from Laika.
Yeah. If you have a taste for the dark and spooky, if you finished Wednesday by chance and wanted something else that was equally spooky, it's a good place to go.
My folks have started watching Wednesday, and they really like it.
We just finished it just yesterday.
Yeah.
It's really good. I have no complaints. The mystery kind of ties itself up a little too conveniently all in the very last episode.
Gotcha.
But even then, like, it's a good time.
Okay, cool. I hear it's doing Stranger Thing numbers. People are really, really, really getting into
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad. It
Yeah.
needs a second season.
It does.
I mean, they leave it hanging for more mysteries for Wednesday to solve.
Great. No, awesome.
Nah, she is. Wednesday is definitely like child detective.
Yeah, I think that's a great direction. That's
is.
a good thing to give her something to do like that.
Also, I mean, they do kind of open her up into being less of the deadpan, serious, dark entity that she is.
Well, yeah, that's one of the through lines of the show is her learning to open up
and be
bit.
like an actual person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not this Wednesday character, I guess.
I wish Fred Armisen wasn't Uncle Fester. I don't care for that.
That is.
I mean, he's fine
He's
in
fine,
But
but
also
it's Fred
he-
Armisen, and you know what?
But also, he's not in it very long.
it. True.
But if they could do a season 2, he'll probably show up.
Yeah.
And also, something's not right with that guy.
Yeah. Well,
Like-
his ex-wife described. She said that his greatest impersonation of all was that of a regular human being.
Woof.
Yeah.
yeah. You can. I mean, he's a fine actor. He's funny in the stuff that he's in. Like Portlandia is great.
Yeah.
And he was fine on
Cacao.
SNL and stuff like that. But I don't know. Every time I see Fred Armisen, I go,
Yeah.
boy, there's just something in the back of my head that's like, I can't put my finger on it.
Yep.
There's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
something not there.
I can't tell you what it is, but
And maybe that's the appeal that people have with him because he keeps showing up in TV shows.
that's
It's
that's
like
the other thing. I'm like, why does he have to be in everything?
he has a bit part as weird guy in everything.
Yeah. And
And-
he doesn't. Well, I mean, he looks enough like Fester in the show to pass.
Sure.
I mean, you could have
throw-
hired somebody better.
You throw enough white makeup on anybody and
Yeah.
they're Fester.
I mean, Fester's supposed to be a kind of a bigger guy, and Fred Armisen isn't.
Sure.
no, they just throw him in a big coat.
Yeah,
and,
he just
and
wears
every shot of him is either him hunched over or an extreme close up. There are no wide established shots of Uncle
Yeah.
Fester.
They could have been somebody else that would have been better.
Sure.
I like how he just kind of has electricity powers now.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he just kind of
I kinda-
shoots electricity out, which is like fair enough. They kind of
They do
you
that
know,
in the original
yeah,
show
she-
and stuff like that.
before it was just like he could run a lot of volts through himself. I think
Yeah.
was kind of the thing, but it's a reasonable extrapolation of that.
if you're going to be making a Addams Family show that has superpowers as one of its conceits,
Oh
then,
yeah,
then that fits.
Almost everybody has some kind of superpower. Wednesday has a power. Morticia has a power. The only one that really doesn't seem to have a power are like Pugsley, Gomez,
Gomez.
and
Yeah.
Lurch.
Is Okay, is Morticia's power something to do with plants?
No.
No.
Because that's always whenever I think of the Addams Family and Morticia Addams, I think of the scene,
Her garden.
her garden, and she's clipping the rose heads off of the.
I mean, she does it in the
Rose
show.
vines.
She does it in the
well,
show.
sure, because that's like an iconic
Yeah.
scene. Okay,
See-
well, don't spoil it
Okay.
for me, because I am going. I swear I do watch things sometimes, and I will sit down and watch this because it does sound very good. But yeah, don't
Oh, man.
spoil.
Wednesday's clunky shoes. She has these huge shoes.
You gotta have big boots. You gotta have
Well,
big
it's not
dog
even just
boots.
big boots. Like her normal shoes have like a heel on. Like
Oh yeah, she's
the
got
whole
big old creepers.
Yeah, she's got big
Nice.
old chonky shoes.
Nice.
I don't know if they're to make her taller or
probably.
what.
Yeah,
Jenny
probably.
Ortega's probably like real short.
She's not. She's not real big.
Her outfits are always excellent.
Oh, yeah.
except for she has one like checker print sweater vest that just does not
Oh yeah.
do anything for me.
Really?
It makes her look like Ska Wednesday Addams. It's like
does. It
I'm in.
does. It's like a real loose knit, like black and white checkered sweater.
Yeah,
Hey, if you're going to drop Ska Wednesday, I'm there to pick it up. And with that, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to get into some news.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Dunham, the host of Long Play here on WZMO. Long Play is a show that appeals to music lovers of all ages. Here's an example.
I love long play.
There you have it. A completely unsolicited endorsement for one of our youngest fans.
Grandpa, where's my candy?
Ellie, be cool.
Grandpa!
Ellie and I would like to invite you to tune into Long Play every Friday at 11 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on 104.7
WCMO.
Hey, we are back from the break. We just took an extended break talking about the good old days. Not for air.
the Eltingville Club took us back to.
Yeah, it did. Talking
those
about
days.
yeah. The good old comic book shop days, the good old
The early aughts.
Yes.
Luckily, you guys didn't burn down any comic book shops
We did not.
No.
We did not.
because
No.
that does happen in Eltingville.
It does. Yeah, that's very true. All right. Well, anyway, let's get into some of the news. We definitely didn't do this take 4 times.
You can't go wrong with some Queen.
You
Can't go wrong. Well, there's one way you can go wrong.
You shut up. You almost clicked the check it out jingle again.
I sure did.
That would have been some icing on the cake.
Well, we're about to check it out. Some news.
Check it out. Let's go.
Let's go. It's me,
Mario.
All right, let's talk about some stuff. Let's start with the first one on the list here. So the DC cinematic universe is getting a big shakeup. They recently announced that they have hired James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad sequel, The Suicide Squad.
Peacemaker also.
Oh, Peacemaker, yeah. He has been hired as like the creative head. And
He's the Kevin Feige.
he's going to be the Kevin Feige of the DC
Is it
cinematic
Feige
universe.
or Feig?
Feige.
Feige.
Yes, it is Feige. But yeah, he's James Gunn is going to be kind of spearheading all this stuff.
You know what?
And-
Fine. Warner Brothers needs somebody who actually is not afraid of the comic source material to make goofy movies.
See, and I thought they had that in Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns was
Yeah.
he was the kind of the head. He was in that position before.
And he was a comics guy. He was
a
from
comics guy.
Comics.
But the problem is, a lot of his comics are the grim, gritty Zack Snyder style. He's
That guy.
that guy, and also Jeff Johns is very much. He was the dude behind bringing Hal Jordan back in the comics and Barry Allen back in the comics.
All those
a lot
dead
of the-
Green Lanterns.
Well,
and Dead Flash.
A lot of in DC Comics. Quick sidebar. It's a lot of legacy characters. A lot of like the second Flash, the third Green Lantern, that sort of thing. And Jeff Johns was behind bringing back a lot of these classic characters from the 60s. There is And while those classic characters are great, I love them, there is one glaring issue in that they're all brown-haired white guys. Almost every single one of them.
Yeah.
The Flash is blonde, but 9 times out of 10, it's a brown-haired white guy. And when you have someone who is mired in nostalgia, who is bringing back all the characters that he read in comics when he was a kid in the 70s, and you have these characters, it doesn't... You end up inadvertently whitewashing your comic line. Anyway, he was in charge of the DC movies. He's not anymore. Now it's James Gunn. And along with that came a big
announcement.
basically clearing the board. Basically canceled Wonder Woman 3. Announced that Henry Cavill is no longer going to be playing Superman.
After they announced that he was.
Not only announced, but he showed up in
Black Adam.
Yeah. Like the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing.
Which is the story of the DC cinematic universe.
Well,
Yeah.
between that and the DC or the Discovery purchase and everything else, I mean, everything was just up in the air. There was a whole lot of wasted money, some wasted potential.
That just unlocked a news topic. There was a thing where DC, Warner and Discovery had canceled a proposed Batman movie.
The Michael Keaton one?
The Michael
Batman
Keaton one.
Beyond one.
It was going to be Batman Beyond. It was going to be Terry McGinnis with old Bruce Wayne.
With Michael Keaton playing old Bruce Wayne.
It was in the books, and Michael Keaton had signed on, and then they canceled it.
Ugh.
It was going to be awesome.
It was going to be great.
Because
They could have found a way to mess it up.
well, yeah.
Well, sure.
But Batman Beyond is as cheesy as it kind of was at times, is remembered fondly by most fans.
Oh yeah, it's
The
a good
shock
show.
you say.
Huh?
The shock you say.
I loved Batman Beyond. It was so good.
Yeah, but people are kind of up in arms a little bit about this whole clearing of the board and getting rid of canceling Wonder Woman and Superman and all that stuff.
Like Wonder Woman
But-
3 getting canceled is kind of a bummer, but also Wonder Woman 2 wasn't that good.
It wasn't that great. I don't know how much of that was studio meddling and how much of that was...
I mean, with all of the Warner Brothers movies, it's outside of very few, it's pretty much all studio meddling.
that's
true.
that's
I
a
mean,
good point.
the only reason the first Wonder Woman was so good is like, well, no one cares about a woman superhero, so they didn't even touch it. They just let Patty Jenkins do what she wanted, and it turned into a good movie, except for that third act.
Even that's not bad.
And the third act's not terrible.
No,
but
it did turn into just a standard CGI punch fest.
Yeah, CGI monstrosity nightmare.
Yeah,
that's what movies are now.
I know. The fact that you
It
could
is.
see his face through the helmet and that you just looked goofy. They should have just blacked out his face and gave him like fire red eyes or something.
Professor Lupin
Yeah,
flying up in the air with his Greek helmet.
Yeah, with his stupid Ares God of War armor.
Yeah. Oh, did we just spoil Wonder Woman 1?
Oh no.
Oops. Spoiler for this 10-year-old movie.
Patty Jenkins got to make 2. Like, let somebody else
Give someone else a chance. Why not?
give it to Greta Gerwig.
Speaking of, the Barbie movie trailer looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks hilarious. They do a very funny 2001 reference.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. And the couple of quick shots that they have of the actual film, it looks like it is definitely not taking place in reality.
Everything is hot pink.
It is almost like the mindscape of kids playing with
Oh,
the
what if this
dolls.
is like Lego Movie with Barbies?
It's either that or either Barbie gets sucked into our reality
Real world.
somehow.
where you have an enchanted situation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I would be fine with either one of those.
Though when she like pulls down her sunglasses and she like winks at the camera and she makes this face, I'm like, that is the exact same Harley Quinn face she's made in almost everything she appears in.
Well, I mean, it's
It
Margot
works.
Robbie.
It's Margot Robbie. It's like her signature look.
It's Margot Robbie or possibly Samara Weaving. I can't tell the difference between the two. They escaped the clone factory over in Australia.
They crawled out of the same Billabong.
They did. They did.
It's like the scene in Two Towers when it shows them making orcs like pulling them out of the mud. It's this
Yeah.
blonde Margot Robbie.
But it's beautiful Australian women.
Yeah.
It's just the same one carbon copied over and over.
They're all like, you see him like Underneath Warner Brothers, there's like a clone vat too.
But yeah, if you would have told me I would be excited to see a film based on Barbie, I would have been like, no.
Yeah,
but
right?
honestly, it looks hilarious.
It looks great. It looks like they are not taking it serious.
Oh, no.
I mean, they're not going to take it serious.
like
at all
there's
anyway,
like a
but
couple
it's-
like quick hits. It looks like they're all doing musical numbers.
Oh yeah, it had Ryan Gosling in there. Samu Lau
Oh yeah.
or Simu Liu
Yeah,
from Shang-Chi.
yeah. The Shang-Chi guy.
Yeah, he's in there, and I think he is another Ken.
An Asian Ken.
Yes.
I hope there's a lot of deep cut Barbie references for people who know that type of
Oh
thing.
yeah. I
Because
hope.
they deserve that.
Where's Skipper? Where's
Yeah.
is she a
Midge.
Midge? Yeah. Is she an astronaut and also a school teacher and also
A dentist.
a dentist?
I want this to be like the Buckaroo Banzai of like
Yeah.
girl toy movies.
Yeah. Why
I
not?
hope there's like an after credit scene with like either the Bratz or like the Monster Idol.
We're gonna live in a world where there are two very bad G.I. Joe movies and an excellent Barbie one.
Right? Oh,
I forgot about the G.I. Joe movies.
I wish I could forget about the G.I. Joe
two increasingly terrible Actually, there's three. Because there's the Snake Eyes movie,
Oh,
which I have
Snake
not
Eyes
seen.
is okay.
It's okay.
Snake Eyes is okay. It's actually kind of enjoyable in parts.
That's better than the other two, because the
Well-
other two are not enjoyable at any part.
Well,
Man.
unfortunately, the second one does take place during Rocktoberfest because he was Roadblock in G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Oh, yeah.
It does count.
after they killed all the other G.I. Joes.
In the first scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much like the old Hasbro animated movies where they kill all your favorite characters so they could sell you new toys.
Transformers.
Yeah, and the G.I. Joe movie.
Duke is dead.
Duke's not dead. He's in a coma, but he's okay.
He's okay off screen.
Off screen in ADR.
At least they had the gumption to keep Prime dead for a little while.
For a while.
And then they had zombie evil Prime.
I was once a man. That's all Cobra Commander does that whole movie. Is
I
you
know.
say that over and
just
over
goes
again.
around being sad and talking about how he's a snake man now.
Even though he had a snake lisp the
From
whole time.
Cobra Law.
Cobra Law.
And
Oh, God, that movie's terrible.
Serpentor.
Also, Sergeant Slaughter's there.
Yeah.
The professional wrestler.
Sergeant Slaughter was the best.
He's,
Oh, yeah.
he's a real man, but also a G.I. Joe toy.
Yeah.
And his whole wrestling persona was the fact that he is the G.I. Joe.
I've watched a lot of the G.I. Joe cartoon because it's hilarious.
It's hilarious. I'll tell you what, that movie is one step away from having the Refrigerator Perry showing up with his rocket launching football cannon.
That is,
Yeah.
like the second season of the cartoon, like they start getting real wild with the characters.
They do. G.I. Joe, there was... Okay, so everyone makes jokes about Shipwreck. And,
Even though
and-
he's the best character on the show.
And Snow Job
Yeah.
because he has a great name. Have you ever seen the toy for the Ice Cream Warrior?
No.
Yeah, look it up. I mean, it's just a generic soldier that they painted in hot neon colors, and they called him the Ice Cream Warrior. And while Josh is looking that up, we're going to talk about the other trailer we have here. There was a trailer for the next Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Is that what? Yeah, that's what it's called.
Across the Spider-Verse. It's Into the Spider-Verse was the first one. Across the Spider-Verse is the second one.
There's a lot of Spider-Mans in this one.
There is a whole lot. There is a whole lot.
Even the PlayStation Spider-Man game, Spider-Man is in it.
Yeah, the PS1, the
No,
chunky,
the PS4 one.
the PS1 classic retro
The
Spider-Man.
Neversoft Spider-Man.
The Neversoft
oh, nice.
Spider-Man with the weird eyes and the angular like body. Yeah, he's
Ice
in it
Cream
too.
Soldier.
Ice Cream Soldier, not Ice Cream Warrior. Yeah, that's the one. It's the Ice Cream Soldier.
For some reason, he has a flamethrower.
Well, he has to fight the ice cream.
It's like the tomb of the ice cream soldier.
May his
It's a little
sacrifice never
soft
be.
serve.
May his sacrifice never be forgotten.
Oh man.
Thank you for your.
But there's so many.
Thank you for your soft service.
Your soft Well, you just got the episode title.
I did. I really did.
But yeah, all the Spider-Mans. Spider-Woman looks like Misty Knight.
Yeah,
which is fine.
she does,
It's
and
cool.
that's cool because the regular Spider-Woman costume is kind of generic, and also
her second one looks a lot better.
her second one is a lot better. Because they redesigned it to look almost like the Batgirl, Babs Tarr. Redesigned it because it's a jacket with leggings instead of.
Man, the Web of the Spider Women was a really good comic.
It was
with her, Spider-Gwen, and Silk.
Where's Spider-Man?
He's supposed to be there. He is supposed to be there. They and they are hinting that they got the original actor.
Oh man.
Because you watched that documentary that they did, right? He was so enthused about being Spider-Man. I have a feeling they could offer him payment at scale, and he would probably do a couple of lines in Japanese and move on. But no, Spider-Punk is going to be in there. He's not in the trailer, but he's going to be in there, and he's played by the guy from Get Out.
The guy from Get Out.
The main guy from Get Out.
The main guy from Get Out. I can't remember the main guy from Get Out. I don't know.
He's the one that had to get out.
That had to get out. I exclusively wore the Spider-Punk suit in the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man
it's a great
game.
costume.
Yeah,
it's a great costume.
Daniel Kaluuya?
Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya. He was also in Black Panther. He was the Rhino Rider. That was Okoye's husband. Yeah. But yeah, there's going to be so many different Spider-Men and Spider-Women in this.
The Amazing Bagman's in there.
Yeah, I saw
Amazing
him.
Bagman. Spider-Monkey's in there. Werewolf Spider-Man from
Spider-Monkey.
Werewolf Universe.
I'm excited for more Peter B. Parker. I
Yes.
loved that character so much in the other.
Oh, he's such a schlub.
Yeah.
You think he's going to have his act together in this one, though?
Absolutely
Oh,
not.
I hope not.
He was jumping around with like a baby Bjorn, like
Yeah, he's got a
harness.
kid now,
He's got
apparently.
a kid. Yeah,
Oh,
A Spider Baby.
Him and Mary Jane made up.
maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
You don't know.
Oh, what if it's like Felicia Harding's kid?
Oh, the Black Cat.
Yeah. I mean, in one of the more recent Spider-Verse comics, there is a Black Cat that is a spider, but she's like a thief still.
I hope they put Black Cat in this. There
I do
hasn't
too.
been. She should be in a movie somewhere. She should be in the MCU, but
Well, she's tied up with the
Yeah.
she's on the Sony side of things. They were working on one. It was Silver Sable and Black Cat, and it fell through. But they had been working on it at some point. The villain of the movie is going to be the Spot, voiced by Jason Schwartzman.
he's a
great.
good villain. Yeah, he's a good villain.
He's a
character.
He's a great
Yeah.
villain, and the Spot is one of my unsung favorite Spider-Man villains. He's definitely not. He's not top tier. He's not even like B tier, but a guy who can throw. You know, in cartoons where they have like they can throw like
Portable
a
hole.
portable hole on the wall or whatever, and jump through them. That's the Spot. He is a living, walking portable hole that he can punch like across a room by punching into one of his portable holes and teleporting across the room.
kind of like an America Chavez.
Kinda, yeah, kinda. And I have a feeling,
Except not as visually interesting.
Yeah.
yeah. But the Spot is great. He was on a couple episodes of the
I remember.
Spider-Man animated series back
from
in
the
the
90s.
day.
Yeah, I remember that
Actually,
one.
I think David Warner was the voice of him, the scientist from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's not on the list, but it kind of ties in a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Donald Glover.
I was just going to
Oh
say,
yeah. In other Spider news,
there's other Spider news. Hey, who here remembers the Hypno Hustler?
today was the first time I'd ever heard of that character.
Sadly, I knew of the Hypno Hustler. He is a one-time Spider-Man villain from the 80s.
Yeah, he's like a disco
Disco era,
musician.
but he was created after the disco era was over. Kind of weird, hypnotic music villain kind of thing. Anyway, Sony's decided, hey, that's Spider-Man adjacent. Let's make a movie about him.
We'll let anybody who wants to do anything Spider-Man related.
That's not Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're down. We're Sony.
Hey, you look cool. Come on in.
Let's see here. We've had Venom.
Yeah.
We've had Mobius.
If you're any celebrity with any sort of pull at all,
no. Is the Hypno Hustler going to cross over with Morbius?
Oh, no. Or maybe Craven.
Is it hustling time?
Oh, no. I'm hustling.
I'm gonna hustle. Anyway, Donald Glover is going to be starring in and producing. Is he also directing?
I don't know.
He's at least producing and starring in.
I just know he's the
and partially writing.
He's just the Hypno Hustler. That's all I know.
This is a Sony Marvel version of the Tommy Wiseau The Room, or it's the Red Letter Media calls them the black tank top style films, where you have a writer, director, producer, star, quadruple threat. Because these movies always end up with the main actor in some kind of black black tank top or some sort of
except Donald Glover is extremely talented.
Except that Donald Glover is extremely talented, but it's the same kind of concept done right, I guess. Possibly, yeah. But no, I'm thinking
it is a Sony Spider-Man adjacent, and they've only made 2 of those that are good. Yeah, and those are Venom and Venom 2.
If you're a celebrity with any kind of cultural cachet, if you pick a random Spider-Man side character, Sony will probably let you make that movie.
I'm waiting for the Rocket Racer movie. Do you remember Rocket Racer from the animated series only?
Yeah.
He had a rocket skateboard, and he fought drug dealers.
Naturally.
Now, of course.
Let's go from American superheroes to American superhero-inspired anime and manga.
Sure.
My Hero Academia has a lot of things cooking currently.
Yeah, so
or not cooking, I guess.
Well, in the not cooking segment, the creator of the manga is unfortunately had to take a sudden hiatus from making the manga for health reasons, because Japanese manga culture.
Yeah, they work
burn themselves out.
Yeah.
I just hope it's not serious, and I hope him the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't go the way of the Berserk guy.
Yeah.
Who literally drew himself to death.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, their crunch culture when it comes to their
Anything.
weekly
Yeah, just about
comics.
anything.
Just about anything, but their weekly comics, like the Shonen Jump stuff, it's insane the amount they're putting in, like hundreds of hours a week,
And they're the only ones working on it.
they're the only ones working on them.
Atypically.
Yeah, and they're just getting, and a lot of times their editors come back with like same day rewrites, redraws.
It's like, no, we don't like this. Do this.
Yeah, it's incredibly.
And yet they published that really controversial cover of The Invisible Girl like a month ago. I'm not going to get into that one because it's bad. It's bad. But in other My Hero news, Netflix has decided they want to do a live action My Hero Academia.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, that's going to be
idea.
awful.
None of the designs of this show and manga
Are going to translate.
are going to translate to live action at all.
They're going to look like bad cosplay, or they're just going to not look right at all.
And like
They should look at the Death Note movie or the Cowboy Bebop live action or any of those other.
visually, there was nothing wrong with the Cowboy Bebop live action.
fair.
It was everything else that was. Well, no.
Netflix does not have a good relationship with making live action.
Even the actors, the casting was good with Cowboy Bebop.
That's- Yeah.
Everything was good except for the
Ed.
writing. And Ed, but Ed was only in the last episode.
Yeah.
It was just the writing that missed the point.
Yeah, but either way, Netflix doesn't have a good history with this. So
Yeah, and this is one of the most popular mangas right now.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
it's this one's right up there with like Dragon Ball and stuff right
Yeah.
now.
Well, and they're making a One Piece live action movie
They are
too.
doing a live
and that's going to look like garbage
yeah.
too, because none of their powers are going to translate well.
I just hope they have the 4Kids TV rap.
Yo, took a bite of gum. Part of me wonders if I would like One Piece if I got into it, but there's just so much of it. It's so daunting.
It
is.
How many chapters are they at? Like over 1,000 or something at this point?
They recently put out a combined collection of the manga, like in one big book, and that book cost over $1,000.
And it's physically impossible to actually read it.
Yeah, it's like
it's the size of a bookshelf.
Yeah, it's like a 4 foot long book.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's dumb. Or I should say 4 foot thick.
Yeah. And I don't care for the way that he draws women because it's bad.
It doesn't look good.
He literally draws 2 big circles and then an X underneath, and that's basically the shape of every woman in the show.
Yeah.
Aside from like comically large, like that Big Mama character.
Oh, the one pirate queen lady. Yeah. I remember her. She's pretty early in the
Lawrence.
What?
Big Mama.
Oh. Yeah, they go to Big Mama's house on their way to the Grand Line.
They still haven't found it. That series has been going on forever, and they still haven't found the Grand Line, which is the whole point.
That's where the One Piece is.
Exactly. Once they find it, it's done.
I know what the show is about, but I've never read it. I think maybe I've seen 2 episodes of the 4Kids dub just to laugh at like how they turned the cigarettes into lollipops and people have smoke coming out of their mouths.
It put corks in the end of the guns.
Yeah.
The guns, yeah.
It's so stupid. I hate 4Kids stuff. I'm just remembering like the Deke like Sailor Moon era.
I love the dub of Sailor Moon. There's nothing wrong with the dub of Sailor Moon.
The Cloverweight dub of Sailor Moon is great.
It's hilarious. Like I was saying, it's not even unintentionally hilarious. I think it's intentionally hilarious.
It's intentionally hilarious. Yeah.
Let's see here.
Have you ever seen the British dub of the Invader Lum?
Yes, of Yuratse.
Yeah.
Yurushi Yatsura.
Yeah.
Rumiko Takahashi's other work.
Yeah,
which actually just got a new series and it's been coming out.
I know, and I wish it wasn't on High Dive or I would watch it.
But but the UK, Channel 4 did a dub and they were
it's hilarious.
Purposely bad.
It's like very extremely Cockney for some reason.
It's Matt Lucas.
Oh,
is the main guy, and it was like his acting troupe. Yeah, it is a lot of that. So that's why it's super Cockney, because it was
Matt Lucas
and them.
And every one of his characters is Cockney.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, we have time for one more, so let's make it a good one here.
Oh no, we have so many too.
There are so many, but there's only time.
We should probably touch on the Superman situation, since that's the big.
I thought we did
news.
talk about that.
We didn't talk about Henry Cavill.
Oh, okay.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
we can combine 2 of these. It's fine.
We mentioned that when talking about it, Cavill's not going to be he's not going to be Superman anymore.
No.
And I think he had probably the classiest send-off that I've ever read.
Oh yeah, that was good.
He put on a kind of like, you type up on your notes app on your phone and then take a screenshot of it.
Yeah.
It's too long for a tweet or whatever. But he basically
For now.
Yeah. Less said about that, the better. But his response essentially said, "Don't be sad. These things are fluid. I had my time.
Yeah,
and now it's someone else's turn.
He's not the first Superman, and he's not the last Superman.
Exactly. Yeah. Henry Cavill gets it. He gets it. And also, he's going to be in a Warhammer 40K show or movie or something.
Amazon is doing a Warhammer 40K with Henry Cavill.
And that's what he would rather be doing.
He would rather be painting Warhammer 40K models.
What if Henry Cavill doesn't actually play? He just paints models.
I would watch it.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that live stream of him building his PC?
Yeah.
It's hilarious, but also,
man, Amazon.
Dude's a nerd.
Amazon wanting to do Warhammer 40K, that is a big jump. Because one, there's so much lore involved with 40K. Also, there's a lot of uncomfortable aspects of Warhammer 40K.
Are they going to do it justice, do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think that they picked up this?
I mean, they're not afraid to do The Boys.
That's That is true.
Oh yeah,
That is true. And they do push the envelope pretty hard. Not as hard as the comics, but they push it pretty hard in The Boys.
But Warhammer 40K is a very dour, very depressing universe. Also incredibly both for in-universe and just, I don't know, is...
There's a lot of social...
I can tell this, and
Squidginess.
my only point of reference is the 10 minutes I played Darktide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Imperium of Man, the human faction, every aspect of it is terrible.
Yeah.
Everyone's conscripted into the military. There's constant war, religiousity, and horrible racism.
So Starship Troopers.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The Imperial Guard are the ground infantry.
Yeah. Do you think Amazon picked this up because they did that Halo series and someone went, hey, what do we have that's kind of like
a Halo?
Like a Halo.
Yeah.
And it's space armor war in space.
Yeah, or like what's like a Lord of the Rings but for space. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also picked up God of War,
Yeah, that's true.
which is like a what if a Lord of the Rings but Greek, and now also Norse.
And angry.
Let's get Christopher Judge on screen and have him just talk at us for 20 minutes straight.
Boy. Watch, they just do like the newer God of War stuff. They don't even touch the other stuff.
That's probably how it'll go down.
Oh
which
yeah,
is kind
it'll
of a
just
shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll do the Greek stuff in flashback probably.
Yeah, you'll probably just get like the opening will be like maybe like Kratos killing his family, getting the ashes, showing him like killing Ares like in a silhouette or something, and this.
But
that, and the other.
90% of it's going to be the Norse.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Because that's the stuff people know, and that's kind of the good stuff.
I'm about to say that's also where the good story stuff is.
The story in the other games is pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I was tricked in killing my family,
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna kill my actual god family because I'm a child of Zeus. Because who isn't a child of Zeus in hero Greek mythology?
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon is also publishing a Tomb Raider game, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So it's doomed, right?
I hope not. Yeah, Amazon's game track record hasn't been the worst, but it hasn't been
the best.
either.
Yeah, it
They-
hasn't
They
been the best.
They've had games come out that are big for like a hot minute, and then nobody talks about them ever again. It's mostly how it's gone.
Which I guess kind of is how the most recent Tomb Raider games have already gone. People, they burned red hot for a minute, but I don't think people don't really talk too much about the.
It's a good trilogy.
They are
Sure.
good, but they also kind of blend in with the sameness of like the Uncharted games and the other adventure style.
Uncharted 8 Tomb Raider's lunch.
Yeah.
Those games by all means should have been Tomb Raider games.
Why is it that when I think of the new Tomb Raider games, I think of The Last of Us, and I know those properties are not the same?
I feel
there's
like
a girl with a ponytail on both boxes.
That's it.
also, at least in the very first game, her outfit is very much like adult Ellie.
Yeah.
Like
Gotcha.
it's dirty green tank top.
Yeah, that's it.
She's covered in grime and cuts and bruises.
And Last of Us 2 takes place in the wilderness a lot.
Yes.
Okay, that's what it is.
And the new trilogy is very
survival horror.
I think they call it like the Lara Croft Survivor series or something like that.
Sure.
Because you have like the adventure Eidos whatever ones, and then you have the
superhero Lara Croft. She's basically a superhero in those original games.
I would like to see it go back to that.
Yes, I prefer a Lara Croft that is impossibly talented at shoot guns and Tomb Raid, like a superhero kind of character, not with powers or whatever, but like exaggerated.
It's like Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, she's like Indiana Jones with the Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's more action oriented than Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones uses his wits to get out of problems. Lara Croft shoots her way out.
She shoots gun.
Yeah, she
true.
shoots an endangered species for 2 hours and then gets a.
Oh, hey! I found this pocket of lost dinosaurs around this this fantasy relic thing.
I better murder all of them.
Yeah, rockets away.
Like Tomb Raider 2 opens with you shooting a tiger in the face. Like,
oh yeah, and that stupid ruin. Yeah.
All right, well, hey, we have actually hit time here, so let's go ahead and wrap things up for the week. You have been listening to Nerd Overload. Thank you very much for tuning in. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
You can find us at Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon at Nerd Overload now.
You can send us an email, staff@nerdoverload.com.
You can find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and more. And finally, I'd like to thank David Pencil for the use of our intro and outro. You can find more of his stuff over at davidpencil.com. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Pizza out.